Hello and welcome to Turkish football's weekly wrap-up for Matchday 19. Sorry about the glitch there. Unfortunately, our host Ozan isn't able to join us today, so myself and Furkan will be running this program as we do at times. Furkan, how are you today?
Yeah, very well. Oz, obviously, it's that time of the year. Everyone's away with family. Wishing everyone happy holidays, and spend some quality time with family and friends. We've neared the end of the first half of the season as well, so some much needed rest for players as well. And we're going to be talking about those final games as we head into the new year. And there was some exciting results, Mehmet.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned, we're halfway through the season. Some interesting results, an interesting looking table, if I'm going to be honest. So let's hop straight into the first game of the week, which was Galatasaray hosting. Sorry about this. Hosting Antalyaspor, their first win in 55 days for Galatasaray. So a big relief for Fatih Terim's men. They do have a good track record against Antalyaspor, but for me personally, Furkan, it was this man on screen that sort of took the show. Kerem Aktürkoğlu, first player this season in half a season, first player this season for Galatasaray to score and assist in a game. So I think he's just like he's been doing all season. He's had a top year. 7 out of the last 8 games, going back to the track record of Galatasaray against Antalyaspor, 7 out of the last 8 games, Antalyaspor failed to score against Galatasaray. So it just sort of shows where they're at. But I think this would have been a massive relief for Galatasaray. 55 days. They had Tash who were able to sort of break that streak. Galatasaray was a bit iffy, but today they're out of it. This week, sorry, they're out of it last week of the season. So, Ferks, do you have any specific comments on this game?
Yeah, look, I personally did get a chance to watch this game, and it was that man that you said at the start, the Wizard of Oz. He did the celebration. He brought out the magic wand. He scored. He's actually his first ever goal from outside the 18-yard box. It was a stunner, and he set up the first as well. I felt it was a game where there wasn't too many chances for either side, and I think Gala made the most of the chances they got and capitalised. And it was a bit of a comfortable 2-0 win, you could say.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think this will help Galatasaray pick up from here. We know that Fatih Terim does have a track record of picking up from spots like this, and so a win at on the last week of the break with a 1 week break in between, I think this will help Galatasaray improve. So let's move on to our next game, which was Başakşehir versus Trabzonspor. Fergus, you want to run us over that?
Yeah, this was notably the game of the round, first playing third, clash of the heavyweights. And we did see a great contest, a very tight game. We did see no goals in this one, but there was definitely heaps and heaps of chances. Just to note a few here, Cornelis and right at the start of the game, Dorukhan hitting the post in the first half for Trabzonspor. So Trabzonspor almost breaking the deadlock. And then chances falling to either side. There was Gulbrightson who got close, Janini at the end. But a very tactical game. It was actually in the first half, Başakşehir only recorded one shot on target, which was their lowest. So Trabzonspor now with this clean sheet have now kept 3 in a row at home. Murjan is continuing his great form. He's still got the best save percentage of any goalkeeper. And I think, Mems, and I'll get your input as well, I think what Trabzonspor is doing well is if they're not playing overly well, because we're sort of used to them scoring and being that dominant team up front, but they're not conceding. And I think that was one of the issues we we highlighted at the start of the year is they might score some goals up front, but how much can they keep out?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I think the midfielders are playing a big role in this. They had both Edgar Lee and Vitor Hugo out for a number of weeks. I've forgotten his name, something very alike me. I feel like I forget names every week. But a player they bought from Alanyaspor, the Greek player. Um, it's at the edge of
Yes,
my mind.
you've got me guessing as well at the moment.
Yeah.
It's
Anyways,
going to come from Siopis.
Siopis, that's the one. Siopis. I had his name written down somewhere. I knew it. I think the signing of Siopis was very big because he's just a work engine at the back. That's it. And I thank you for that. It was a bit of a blind moment for both of us. But yes, I think Siopis, the signing of Siopis, was a big one for Trabzonspor. I felt like Berat Albayrak wasn't really that person for that role. But with Siopis sitting right in next to Hamšík, they've definitely stopped leaking in goals. That's what I'm gonna. That would be my input in terms of their defense, because I think I was their harshest critic out of the three of us in terms of Trabzonspor's defense at the start of the season.
On the other side, we have a team led by Emre Belözoğlu, and since he's taken over that role at Başakşehir, they're the only team that are undefeated. Since he's taken over, he's recorded eight wins and 3 draws, 11 games that he's undefeated. So Başakşehir, who haven't actually just a stat on their visits to Trabzon. They haven't lost in Trabzon since 2015 in their last 7 visits. So, and they extended that run. So they've been quite happy travellers to the Black Sea, and they came out undefeated. Another notable performer in this game that I just want to point out is Marek Hamšík. He played an excellent game, 96 passes, 89% pass accuracy, 7 duels, 1. And he played in the heart of midfield today, or rather on the weekend. And we had a bit of a shift in position. Dorukhan played higher up the pitch, and Hamšík sort of sat back. So Abdullah Avcı has been testing, trialing new players in different positions. And I think that's what's really led to Trabzon sort of, they're a dynamic team. They can mix and match their players, and they're the team to beat, obviously, heading into the mid-season break.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've only lost 1 game this week. Eray is saying Emre is the new Fatih Terim and what a dynasty coming up. I think that's a big call, but I think it is a worthy call. I actually think that's a big possibility. I think he will be one of Turkey's only big coaches at the moment, just like we have Şenol Güneş, Fatih Terim. If you want to count Mustafa Denizli in there, I think Emre will be the one of those 3 in the next generation.
And just to add on that, Eray, I was actually reading in news. There was rumors of obviously Acun Ilıcalı. He's bought out Hull City, and there was rumors that he potentially might bring along Sergen Yalçın with him to England. So just on that topic of Emre and young managers, I think we're seeing more and more young Turkish managers, and we hopefully want to see them managing abroad and at bigger teams. And hopefully Emre can be one of those managers. If you can find some success domestically, move into the leagues, and he's been at the Premier League. He's played at the La Liga. He's played at the Serie A. So why not? He's got the language as well. So it'd be interesting, and hopefully we can see that happening.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think we will see Emre managing in the Premier League. So best of luck to him. And in saying that, we can go to Emre's old team now, which is Fenerbahçe, who defeated Yeni Malatya for 2-0 in what I would probably call a scrappy win. But this man shining, I'd say, after the departure of manager Vitor Pereira. The 2 games that he's played, Fatih Karagümrük and now against Yeni Malatyaspor. We saw Novak playing his high line as he usually does, as we saw at Trabzon, that goal scoring, as people in Turkey would call him, Arka Direk Novak. We saw him inside the box a lot of times, and I think that's what makes Filip Novak Filip Novak. So a notable performance from him over the 180 minutes in the last two games. Just an interesting stat about Fenerbahce. I mean, there was not much to talk about this game, Fergus. I think you'd agree with me. It was very scrappy. It looked like, we were discussing this beforehand. It looked like both teams just wanted to go on holidays. Malatyaspor have hit rock bottom of the table, as we'll see in a little bit as well. Fenerbahce didn't look like they wanted to be there. It was a very slow-paced game, 2-0 win. So I just want to talk about an interesting stat of Fenerbahce overall in the first half of the season. So, considering currently they're fourth, 14 points behind leaders, Fenerbahce had the most shots on target in the first 19 weeks. So in the first half of the season, the most shots on target with 106, the most touches inside the box with 504, and they had the most goal expectation. So would you like to say that? Would you like to say that they're just bees that aren't making honey? There's a saying like that in Turkey, "Bal yapmayan arı." Would you call them that in that sense? What are your comments on this?
You know how much I like the goal expectancy stat. It's a stat I look at with most games. I definitely agree. Look, Fener have, in a lot of games, been unlucky to not get some more points. They've created chances. And I think the biggest flaw in the system, and I think why we might see such high numbers in those statistical categories, is I don't think the ball has been, when it's been in the opposition half, it hasn't been in players who unknown goal scorers. When you want to be touching the ball in the box, you want players who can put it away. Maybe that guy on screen, Berisha, Valencia. I think because of the way Fenerbahce's formation is, you often have players like the wing backs getting to those positions, or the midfielders pushing up and falling into those positions, and they're not really the people you would rather want to have in those positions. So I think it's quality. Again, it's quality over quantity on those numbers. And who knows? I think Fenerbahce is still lacking a world-class striker, definitely. And I think they've really, really missed Enad Valencia, because he really, really started the season strong. And they've tried to sort of play Serdar Dursun in a different sort of role to what Berisha was playing. And he's absent. So I think they're still missing a trick at the front, where they're not really lethal enough for the opposition to really, and often defensive teams, when they set up against Fenerbahce, they're playing really, really high up, and they're not exposing themselves too much at the back. So going back to your comment, I think the numbers, reading that as a Fenerbahce fan, you'd be really, really talking about how unlucky you've been. But I think the numbers are a little bit exaggerated with the sort of positions and players who've been there.
Yeah, absolutely. And if it's, if you wanted my personal view on this, I think the big thing was that they were missing Enad Valencia. Especially since starting this program, watching every single game of every single team over the weekends. I think Serdar Dursun and Berisha, I do think Berisha is a good forward. I've said this from the start of the season, but I think they've been very, very extremely wasteful. So yeah, that's the stats with Fenerbahce. Let's see if they can fix that goal scoring record up going forward. And for the last sort of notable game of the week, Fergus, I'm going to jump to you. Konyaspor defeating Beşiktaş. Konya is obviously continuing their amazing run. Can you run us through this game?
Yeah, Konya getting the 3 points, a massive 3 points for them, and they're really exceeding any sort of expectations. We sort of touched on them last week, and they've continued that fine form. They're 7 points off leaders. Trabzonspor are their closest competitors in second position. There's a couple of numbers to just note it down. In their last 10 meetings with Karakartal, they had only won one of those games. That being at home to Besiktas last year. So they beat them again at home. So 2 wins back-to-back at home, 4 wins in a row at the moment, their current streak, which is the equal best in their history. Ilhan Palut, the young manager, his numbers for Konya, he is the statistically the best ever Konya Sport manager. He's managed 37 games, registered 65 points, 1.8 points per game. And these are promising numbers for Konyaspor. Their goalkeeper, Ibrahim Sage, has now kept 8 clean sheets, the highest this season for any goalkeeper. In terms of the game, Besiktas, I would say, was a fairly even game. Besiktas sort of just edged numbers on possession and chances. Gezal missed a very clear-cut chance. He hit the post twice in the one position. And there was an incident where I feel one of the Konyaspor players should have been sent off. He was given a yellow instead. But if we sort of look at it from a Besiktas perspective, I think it's been a case of some earlier games in the year where they've really lacked that teeth to up front. Another game which they were unable to register a goal. So there's definitely, they have got an interim manager, so they'll probably be heading into January looking at, like Farache, for, a full-time manager. So there's two big teams should be maybe on sec.com this holiday time, Mems.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Besiktas obviously, I think Konyaspor is the main talking point of this game, if I'm going to be honest, from my perspective. Second, going into half season, as you said, Ilan Palut, turned the team around amazingly. I think he deserves just about as much credit as Emre Belözoğlu. So yeah, amazing performances. And so that sort of wraps up our weeklies. Let's have a look at the table. So we've sort of didn't go through them. Our apology. First, we've got the table here. Your comments on the table, how you think sort of we will go in the second half of the season. Will Trabzonspor drop it? Who will drop? Go through the whole thing with us.
Yeah, obviously we've talked about Trabzonspor sitting comfortably at the top, and that is, Mems, by the way, a record. Closing out the first half of the season, 46 points is now a Super League record. The previous record, I believe, was 45 points. And if I'm not mistaken, that was done over a 17-game run. We've obviously got 38 games this year. Got 20 teams rather than 18, the usual 18. So congrats on Trabzonspor for achieving that feat. And they're sitting comfortably above Konya. And, the eyes usually go to the big Istanbul teams. You've got Fener sitting at 4th, Besiktas sitting at 7th, and Galatasaray sitting at 10th. I'm not sure how many people would have predicted that prior to the year. And I'm sure if you put a bet on that, you would have won a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just running down the bottom of the order, you've got and Malatya. I think they're in a bit of strife at the moment. Rizespor actually did get up, so it's going to be an interesting battle because I think Göztepe will fight. They've got a fighting spirit. Kasımpaşa, they always find the way to get out. So, what's your takes on the current table, man?
Well, on the current table, I think Trabzonspor should easily take out the league. Konyaspor, I think they are doing well, and they will finish top four. But we know with the sort of smaller Anatolian teams that they don't really, they can't really bring the end of the season, whether it's depth, whether it's quality, the mindset, whatever it is. But Trabzonspor has a champion team. They created this squad. They know how to win trophies. These group of players. So I think Trabzon will take it out easily this year. I can't see them dropping too many points. As you said, Fener, Beşiktaş, and Galatasaray, predicting them in this current situation, back to back. And I want to say, especially Beşiktaş, because such a dominant team last year, adding players like Batshuayi, Pjanic, you'd expect that team to sort of push again for a championship. And, rather, I actually expected them to smash out the championship. I expected Beşiktaş to do what Trabzon was doing right now, if I'm going to be honest. But, obviously Hatayspor has been dropping over the last few weeks, but there are a few good performers. I want to say that the most interesting one for me, the most interesting clash for me is going to be between Rize and Altay. Because for the first 7 weeks, Altay was first and Rize was last. And now they're right behind each other. Rize is 1 point behind Altay. Altay's been on a massive slump in form. So for me, that's an important one. As you said, I think Göztepe will sort of step up. And with Malatya, I think it's Şumudika. I think they have a very toxic relationship with Şumudika, and I think that's what it might be. But that's my take on the table. Now, lastly, before we call it a night and call it a year, actually, Ferks, I want to talk about the Women's Super League, which is obviously still continuing. You want to run us through Group A, where the results, the table, everything
Sure.
that we have.
It was second round of fixtures, and we've seen in Group A the big teams. We've seen Beşiktaş come out 2-1 winners away to Ataşehir. Altay 3-0 winners at Hatay. Fatih Vatanspor, another victory 4-2 over Kocaeli. Ahmet Sportiv, an away win to Kireçburnu 2-0. Fenerbahçe winning 5-0 at home to Antalyaspor. And that obviously now means Fatih Vatanspor, Ahmet Sportiv, and Beşiktaş all on 6 points. Closely behind them, we've got Ankara Büyükşehir with that massive win. They're going to be playing away to Ereğli, Belediyespor, Fenerbahçe, closely behind them.
Yeah, and it is actually an interesting one. I did watch a few of those games, and these girls on screen, the Fenerbahçe team, I was especially intrigued in them. 23 seconds, they went ahead 4-0 half time. It was just a goals galore. So the goals galore is still continuing, not only in Group A but also in Group B, where we see the Galatasaray team. Obviously, after that, that friendly that everyone knows about, no one was really expecting them to do much. But a 3-2 win, away from home against Dudullu, sees them second in the position. Hakkari is still in pole position. They've beaten Rizespor 2-1, and obviously with the big win on Matchday 1, that was a sort of motivator for them. Alegespor coming back from that draw against Konakspor in week 1 with a massive 9-0 win against İlkadın Belediyespor, who looks to be one of the rather weaker sides of the league. Konak Belediyespor defeating Trabzonspor away from home, 2-1. Fatih Karagümrük beating Sivasspor 3-1 away from home, and Adana İdman Yurdu beating Kayseri 2-1 away from home, which sees Kayseri now at the bottom of the table in Group B. So currently how the table is looking, Hakkari is obviously first. Galatasaray, where our friend Büşra Kenet is also featuring, is second, and Fatih Karagümrük is third, followed by Adana İdman Yurdu. As we know, the first 4 will be going into the final series. And just having a look at next week's fixtures, or if we want to call them midweek fixtures, Tomorrow night will be match day 3, where İlkadın Belediyesi hosts Trabzonspor. Fatih Karagümrük will host Galatasaray, who are looking to do 3 out of 3. Hakkari will be hosting Sivasspor. Rize will travel to Adana İdman Yurdu. ALG Spor will be playing Dudullu, and Konak Belediyespor will be hosting Kayseri Spor at home. So that is what the women's league is looking like. And Fergus, did you want to just go over next week's fixtures with Group A?
Yeah, sure.
If you had access to them?
Yeah, there's actually a very interesting clash, top of the table sort of clash, where we see first playing third, first being Fatih Vatanspor traveling away to Beşiktaş, who are currently in third. And that's just on goal difference. Both teams have won their first 2 games, so that's going to be a great contest. That's going to be played out tomorrow. Fenerbahçe will be traveling away to Ataşehir in what sees 5th playing 6th, so that's another tight contest we can expect. Ahmet Sportiv, another team who's also won their first 2, will be hosting Ereğli Belediyespor. And probably looking to make that 3 out of 3. And we've got Altay hosting Kireçburnu, and Ankara Büyükşehir Belediye hosting Antalyaspor in the remaining fixtures.
Thanks for that, Fergus. And they will be midweek fixtures. So if anyone's interested in watching or even following them, as you do know, we are putting scores and updates up of the Women's Super League, and we are following it closely. So that does that for all the games. And just before we knock off for the year, we want to wish everyone a happy new year, a happy, safe new year. We will be off next week as well, together with the league. So we will not be live next week, and we will join the week after when the Super League and the Women's League is back. And just to add to that, we have also announced our second guest of our special segment. So make sure to tune in on this Thursday, the 30th of December at 7 p.m. to the Turkish Football YouTube channel, where we hosted Hakan Anaz, a load of experience. Ferks was one of the 2 speaking to him. A load of experience, FIFA World Cup, A-League, currently an elite level referee, trainer and assessor with the AFC. He's got everything under the bag, and it was an extremely insightful interview. Just conducting it was insightful. So I'm very, very sure that you guys are going to love it too. So make sure to tune in on Thursday at 7 p.m. to the YouTube Turkish Football YouTube channel, and we will also share the links on our Instagram and Facebook pages. So that's about it from us today. Again, we wish you a happy new year, a happy and safe new year. Ferks, do you have any last messages for 2021 for our followers?
Yeah, I think you've hit all the points on the head. Just want to add, we're obviously excited to head to the new year. We'll be working on more and more projects. And along with these interviews, if there's anything that you guys want to see on any of our platforms, feel free to message us. We're more than happy to hear feedback. Let us know what we can sort of add to the podcast, with who we're interviewing, or what you sort of want to see. And we want to obviously work on bigger things next year with all your support.
Absolutely. And thanks for that, Ferks. Without giving any spoilers, we also do want to say that we've got other extremely exciting interviews who are also lined up coming up in 2021. So no spoilers. You'll find out in a few weeks' time. But in the meantime, stay safe, everyone. Have a happy new year. And a safe new year, we'll say. See you later. We'll see you in 2 weeks when the leagues resume again. And yeah.
Bye for now.